I'm coming to see, as I'm, talking about all the time, that there's the perspective that there's one thing here, one reality, um, has a very different, you could say, felt sense to it, as a perspective, a different implication, and I speak about this, of course, highlighting sort of different implications of it. We were talking last week, I believe it was last week, about the sense of no vulnerability, um, from that perspective, because there's not one thing opposing another thing, right? Not one thing potentially impacting another thing. Again, we're very familiar with the perspective of there being a multitude of things interacting, and right, um, and that's a real perspective too, that this can be experienced from that vantage, to be sure. Um, but one of you could say, the felt sense kind of underlying the recognition of there being just one thing here, one reality, one presence, being everything, appearing as everything, one life, is just complete relaxation. I'm just going to invite you into the sense of that, noticing that. Um, because reality is at ease by its very nature, simply being itself, right? There's no efforting, there's no struggling, there's no fighting against anything or pushing or pulling on anything, right? Again, because there's one thing being everything, one existence appearing as all of this stuff. So I'm inviting you to feel that presence of being, a simple feeling of being, the ease of it, absolute ease of being, how effortless it is here, how easeful it is, the flow of it, one moment emptying into the next moment, just this fluid dynamism. Even what we might call resistance and struggle and fighting against what is here is actually without struggle, without effort, without resistance. It's just what's appearing. And in the appearing, this sort of streaming forth of the moment, this is at ease. Simply everything that appears is simply being itself, right? The moment, however we might be describing it, is irrelevant right now because it's just simply being itself perfectly. That's this is the transcendental, if you will, equanimity of life. Not a state that we're getting ourselves into. It's, we could say, the basic state, the fundamental nature of all of this is equanimity, is ease, this fluidity, this effortlessness that just springs forth and shines forth as each moment, as this moment. So I'm just inviting you to feel that ease and just allow. I just even saying too much to say allow it, because it's just going to be the way that it is, simply being itself, but this ease of being, not something that we're contriving, not something that we're conjuring up through some sort of effort. It's just what's here, the nature of what's here is at ease. It's complete relaxation of being. It's like if something that we call a moment of resistance or struggle arises, and you feel the way in which, or some kind of afflictive state or difficult thought, or right, all the ways we describe, the disturbances that can arise experientially, circumstantially, that each one of those is simply being that, right? No matter how we're describing it, it's just being that instant in perfect equipoise because in the instant of its arising, the moment is without conflict. Can you feel that? There's no conflict. It just, in the appearance, in the instant of the appearing, there is no conflict. There is no struggle. Not because we got good at relaxing or good at letting go of struggle somehow in some kind of through some sort of strategizing to be better at that or practice. Life is that way. The ocean of life is at ease, whether it is very placid and peaceful or whether it's we've had some big storms here in California, oceanic storms, um, big waves, and it's just there's an ease in its being itself. There's an ease in the moment being itself. Do you feel that? Because it's just being. That's the ease. Just being this way or that way, seemingly. The ease in this case that I'm pointing to is not in what it looks like or how it's being described, because sometimes it can be described as anything but ease and relaxation, right? This is the transcendental ease of it is at ease in its being, regardless of how that being is being described. Do you see? It's like the appearing itself is at ease. The show is at ease. All of it. This is not to negate the perspective of unease that can occur within the whole world of things and the seeming describability of those things. Right? There's no negating that. But the ocean of existence has no fight with any of its waves, does it? It's the waves are its expression, and that's the ease. It's like it's just appearing as all the myriad ways that it can appear. So just let yourself enjoy the great ease of being. Not, for sure, the being that you might think of as yourself, the being of the body, the being of the mind, the being of the emotional realm, the being of you, the personality, that being of you, and also the being of everything that you might imagine to be not you. I don't know if you could hear it. There was this high pitched sound in the background. I think it was a tea kettle or something. I don't know what it was. It was kind of loud in here. Sometimes that doesn't come across Zoom, which is nice for me. So if there's background noise, but in any case, that sound was there, and it was this beautiful opportunity to illustrate like that sound was simply being that sound in total relaxation and ease. And I could feel that little like, oh, like that sense of not wanting that to sort of be a disturbance for anyone listening, or a distraction. Like I could see that those thoughts there. And all of those were arising, it wasn't a lot of reaction to that sound on my end, but there was some, was like also appearing in perfect ease. Like, where is the problem? It's like there's not something to correct from that standpoint. There's just what's appearing. And then, of course, from that vantage, any sort of reaction has a natural tendency to kind of just not, there's not, we're not putting very much fuel on the fire, including like, oh God, I shouldn't be having this experience, or there's a problem, in how I'm reacting to X, Y, or Z. But the ground of what I'm pointing to is the way in which the ground of all of our experience, all of life, the ground of being, that is the very basis of everything. It's being, right? Is at ease, being whatever it's being, seemingly. You feel the ease of that. This is another one of those examples of the things we search for as human creatures, peace and ease and equanimity, right? Um, are woven into the very fabric of life itself. They are, it's sort of, I mean, it's interesting, not just interesting, but inspiring and transformative ultimately to realize that these kind of principal sort of aspirations that humans have for openness and ease and freedom and right and a kind of welcoming and being less defended and right all of these qualities that we search for as humans are woven into the fabric of this single reality itself. And so it's no surprise that the final word of that saying in Sanskrit, Sat Chit Ananda, Sat being, Chit being consciousness, which are one and the same thing, because the beingness of the moment is awake. That's its illumination is its being here. That's its wakefulness. It just so happens to be Ananda could be translated as bliss or peace in English, I guess. I don't know Sanskrit, but it's like the feeling tone of this being is the very thing we long for as humans. And it is precisely what we're actually feeling at the basis of what's being experienced is that being, that always being, never absent being at ease with itself, within itself, as everything that it gives rise to.